Hello, thank you very much. What an honor it is to be up here in the company of Joaquin and Peter and Bill and Dick. We admire their work enormously. We stand on their shoulders. We're all brothers and sisters in arms in this business of trying to promote the value and success of nonprofit journalism as an alternative to, not a replacement for, but in addition to the existing sources of this kind of work. You may know that the Texas Tribune is a 6.5-year-old digital news organization. We are a website principally but not exclusively. In fact, to call us a destination website is true but not accurate because it misses the full scope and breadth of everything that we provide. TexasTribune.org is the site. We launched 6.5 years ago really to resolve two problems that we identified that I'll share with you, where it's fashionable apparently. We didn't actually coordinate this, but we're all putting up our mission statements, and I'm very proud to put up ours. And I will read mine, Bill, because it's short. The Texas Tribune is a nonprofit, nonpartisan media organization that informs Texans and engages with them about public policy, politics, and statewide issues. Those last bits are the most important in one respect. We're about public policy, politics, and statewide issues. We're not about anything else. That's where the public service imperative is. It is wonderful to come into work every day and not have to ask, what are we supposed to do? We know what we are and we know what we're not. It's easier that way. It's like not telling lies so you don't have to remember what lies you told, right? We come in every day, we have a mission statement that guides us. The nonprofit part's important because we truly believe we're performing a public service. We are proud to be a public service journalism organization. It is appropriate that we have a 501c3. It also is an acknowledgement of the reality that there's a market failure, was then back in 2009 and is still now, in terms of providing public service journalism in adequate supply. The nonpartisan part is absolutely important. There are plenty of places to go to get your bias confirmed. Our business is to provide reliable information down the middle. We don't editorialize on issues, don't endorse candidates or campaigns. We give you the facts and the information you need to be more thoughtful, productive, and engaged citizens. We do not tell you what to think. Sadly, we have to tell you to think. We came into business in reaction to two realities. The first was a decline in coverage of public policy, politics, and state government. When we started the Tribune in 2009, the Capitol Press Corps had shrunk to a third of what it had been 20 years before. Personally, when I got to Texas Monthly in 1991, which is not really all that long ago, there was still a Houston Post as well as a Houston Chronicle. There was still a Dallas Times-Herald as well as a Dallas Morning News. There was still a San Antonio Light. You still had two newspapers in many big cities. The number of newspapers and reporters has declined. We came into business to hopefully replace some of what was lost. The second problem is that civic participation in the state of Texas, in a word, sucks. We have the worst voter turnout over the last 3 election cycles of any state in the union, 51st out of 50 in 2010, 48th in 2012, and 49th in 2014. You see this New York Times visualization that shows you in 2012, counties and states that had a voting age participation of less than 50%. Hello, Texas. I don't know what they're doing in Rockport there on the coast. I'm told that may be an inlet. That may not actually be a city. I think we may be entirely screwed, not just partially screwed. Even this year on primary day, March 1st, where we broke the record for turnout, we are still second to last in all the states that have voted so far in voting age turnout. Molly Ivins used to say that we're Mississippi with better roads. It turns out we're Louisiana with better voter turnout. And when the president was here for South by Southwest, he came and sat with us at the Texas Tribune as part of his interview at South by Southwest. He came and sat with us because he wanted to talk about civic engagement in a digital age, because he himself knows, as he said, the good people who run Texas, not the great people, he chose his words carefully, do not want you to vote, he said. That is why voter turnout is so low in the state of Texas. They're not motivating civic participation. Why does this work? Texas, even our news is bigger, pardon me. We have the most people without, and better, right? But bigger, mostly bigger. We have the most people without health insurance in the entire country in the state of Texas. The healthcare conversation starts here. We have the most contiguous miles with the Mexican border in Texas. The immigration conversation starts here. We produce the most crude oil. The energy conversation starts here. We are the only state with open carry legal that did not provide opt-outs for the big cities, and our big cities, therefore, are the biggest cities in the country with guns, open carry. The gun conversation starts here. We sue the federal government more than anybody else. We were 10th Amendment before 10th Amendment was cool. The federalism conversation starts here. We have the fastest growing cities. We have the fastest growing big cities. We have the fastest growing small cities. We've added 1,400 people a day to the state's population over the last 3 years. We have 3 of the 10 largest and 6 of the 20 largest cities in the country. So the fast growth conversation starts here. And speaking of population, our population is not only growing quickly, but changing dynamically, rapidly becoming Hispanic majority. In 2040, the only age group in Texas in which Anglos will outnumber Hispanics is 65 and older. So the demographic inevitability conversation starts here. How do we attack this on the Tribune site? 3 ways: news, data, and events. Daily news coverage, typically organized around the 8 big beats: public ed, higher ed, immigration, healthcare, transportation, energy, the environment, and criminal justice. We also do investigative reporting, both on our own and in partnership with the legacy news organizations that once upon a time would not have crossed the street to put us out if we were on fire. We have come a long way in 6.5 years in terms of our ability to work with everybody. Our stuff is given away for free to any news organization that wants to run it, and dozens of newspapers and TV and radio stations do on a regular basis. We publish for 4 years and 2 months in a partnership with the New York Times. Thank you, Bill Keller. And in the last year and change, we have published online and in print in the Washington Post. Data is the second thing we do. We have a robust government salaries explorer that has always provided great traffic to our site, and there's great reader interest in that. We also collect things like every conceivable performance metric for all 8,600 public schools in Texas and make that available, searchable and sortable. We also do the only statewide scoreboard of election returns on primary, runoff, and general election night. The third thing we do is events, editorial events, not bridal shows, not barbecue festivals. There's a place for that. We do editorial events, elected officials on a stage, on the record, open to the public, free to attend, accountability journalism in real time. I have our Ag Commissioner here, Sid Miller, featured on this slide. For those of you from Texas, events have been a Jesus shot for our content model. Only a few laughs for that. Last year, we did 52 editorial events, on average 1 event per week. Half in Austin and half out. The biggest of these is the 3-day Texas Tribune Festival on this campus. Last year, 260 speakers, 3,200 registrants, a $1 million gross revenue weekend for the Tribune. This year, 23rd, 4th, and 5th of September, tickets on sale Wednesday. Hashtag ad, I don't care. Audience growth numbers in Q1 of 2016 versus Q1 of 2015. Traffic to our site, which we all know is not the only way to measure audience, is up by 41%, and there are other very interesting statistics in terms of our audience growth. I've only got 3 more sides, Professor, I promise. This is good. Thank you, Justin Ellis, who called us once upon a time the poster child for revenue diversity. That is tattooed on my back like a tramp stamp. I'm very happy to have that be associated with the Tribune. Here is the big reveal. I'm happy to show you our revenue. This is a great record, I think, of 6.5 years of building a sustainable, diversified revenue model that relies on major and individual contributions, small dollar contributions from regular folks, institutional philanthropy, corporate underwriting, event sponsorship, and earned income. This is a model that has worked. This is a model that does work. We will do just under $6.8 million in revenue this year against a little bit more than $6.6 million in expense. It is an honor to do this work. Thank you very much.